Hi everybody, welcome to Art History 2. So this is an online class, as you know, so we're going to be doing everything asynchronously and remotely. So for this introduction video, I want to just kind of walk through some of the aspects of the class. So the first thing to note is we're going to do everything on Canvas, okay? So if you aren't familiar with Canvas yet, that is okay. It's pretty intuitive. I'm Megan. I'm your instructor. My name's Megan Rosen. So we'll go through a little bit of information about me in a minute. But first of all, I just want you to kind of be comfortable with how this course is going to be set up. Okay? So when you come into Canvas, I've set our home page to be the modules page. If you get off of this page, you can also just click the little link over on the side here that says modules, and it'll take you back here. This is where all of your information and the links to all of the things you need to watch, read, or participate in for the class are going to be. Okay? So first things first, let's look at where the syllabus is. They've changed this semester. We have a new setup for the syllabus, so it's a teeny bit confusing, so I just want to point it out to you. Normally, you're probably used to getting your syllabus in this first little link that just says syllabus. And I'll still put a copy, a PDF of our syllabus there, but they have it set up a little bit differently, so it's more integrated into Canvas now. So now you come down to course syllabus, and you click on that, and then it takes you to a screen that has everything kind of laid out, okay? So when we're looking at the syllabus, it's pretty typical for those of you who have had classes. You'll get all the general information. My name, I'm Megan Rosen. You can call me Megan, by the way. If you'd like to call me Instructor Rosen or Ms. Rosen instead, that's fine. I don't care either way. I do care if you misspell my name in emails. I do not like that. So I know my name is spelled oddly, but try to spell it right when you're communicating with me, please. Okay, because this is an online class, my office hours are also going to be done remotely. So if you want to set up an appointment with me, email me and we'll set up a time to meet via Zoom, okay? There aren't any external required materials for this class. I do recommend that you have a notebook and that you take notes on the lectures, which I understand sounds slightly arcane, maybe, like a little bit old-fashioned, but there have been lots and lots of studies that show that if you see and listen to something and then you physically write it down, you're much more likely to retain that information. When I was in graduate school, I had a couple of professors who didn't let us have laptops in class to take notes on because they wanted us to physically write stuff down because it helped. I don't care if you take notes on your laptop instead, but according to science, if you actually write it down in a notebook, you're more likely to remember it. But anyway, you don't have an external book or anything. All of that material is through Canvas, so you don't have to buy anything extra. I'm not going to read the syllabus to you, but you can look at that yourself. But basically, the course covers the history of art and some architecture, and it's the second history of art. The first art history survey goes from Paleolithic times all the way up through the late Gothic period, and this class picks up where Art History 1 leaves off. So we're Art History 2, so we start in the very early and kind of a little bit pre-Renaissance, and we go all the way up through contemporary art that's being made today. So it's a ton of material in a not very long period of time. So there's a lot of things to learn and absorb. The last time I taught this class was last summer, and that's an even more condensed version of it, and it was really hard to get all the information in that short of a time. So this feels a little bit luxurious, having a whole semester to go through everything. So that's what we're studying in this class. We want to be able to interpret major works of art. We want to use critical vocabulary. We want to know about what the art is made of and the historical context it was made in. We want to be able to identify different major art movements and know what their characteristics are. We want to be able to identify some of the major artworks themselves and the people who make them, some of the major artists. And we want to be able to explain the influence of art on culture and on society, and vice versa, how the societal, socioeconomic atmosphere and context influenced artworks and continues to influence artworks as well. And we want to be able to kind of look at this broad scope of time and sort of summarize what happens in that time in the art world and be comfortable talking about that. So that's kind of what we're doing in this class. In terms of grading, it's really straightforward. So you are going to have discussion assignments, which I will explain in a minute. You're going to have quizzes. You're going to have a final exam. And then you're going to have participation points. And the participation points come from things like Flipgrid posts, which if you don't know what that is, that's okay. We'll talk about it when we get to it. We only have a couple of those, but basically I have to have a couple of things where I actually see you doing things when it's an online class so that I know it is truly you taking the class. So we'll have things like that for participation. Some of your discussions, you have some participation for those. But that's basically how the class breaks down. Discussion assignments, quizzes, final exam, and then participation points. Okay? We just follow the basic OTC grading guidelines. I do always like to point out this part of the syllabus, the academic grievance contact. If you have, if you're upset by something that happens in class, whether it's something with another student or whether it's something I've said or done, or you think something was graded unfairly or whatever, your first point of contact is to come to me, is to talk to me. If that's not comfortable and you feel like you feel weird about it or something, or your problem is directly with me, I put my direct supervisor and her supervisor right in the syllabus. So if something is wrong and you don't feel like you can talk to me about it, the next person to contact would be Kat Alley. She's the chair of the department that this class fits within at OTC. And then if that doesn't work, her supervisor is our general education dean, and his name is Dr. Lance Renner, and his contact information is here too. So we want to be really transparent and let you know that if there's a problem, we can solve it. There's a way to figure that out. All the rest of the stuff is pretty basic. The schedule I will add in later, but basically, as we're about to go over to the modules and look through the modules, and you'll see the dates for everything. So you have a pretty good idea, but I'll put in a more precise schedule for you also. Okay, so that is the syllabus, and that is down here, not under syllabus, but down toward the bottom under course syllabus. So it's just a different button than it used to be. I don't know why the old button still exists, but course syllabus is how you get to that. And I'll put just a PDF of it in the syllabus slot as well, so you'll be able to find it. Okay. So on the module page, this is how everything in the class basically is going to run. So our first module is introductions, and that's exactly what it sounds like. So you're going to go in here and you're going to introduce yourself to the class, and you're just going to tell me and your classmates some information about yourself so that we can get to know each other. And I do always recommend that you read the post from your fellow students, that you try to find something in common with each student. That's actually a participation task I like for you to do. I call it the Scavenger Hunt. So you go through the introductions, which you do get points for, by the way, so you need to do them. It's part of your grade. And then you find someone you have something in common with and comment about it and try to make a connection there. So the things I want you to post about here are your name, especially, particularly if it's different than how it shows up in Canvas. Like, I don't know, if your name is Jeffrey and you go by Jeff, tell me that. If you go by your middle name or something, tell me that. I want to make sure I'm calling you the correct name, so tell me what to call you. Then tell me your pronouns. So that's like, I use she, her, there's he, him, there's they, their, they, them. So tell us your pronouns. Your area of study. Now, a lot of people don't know that because we're just kind of doing general education things for a transfer degree or something. That's totally fine. Just tell us that. No worries. And then tell us where you're from. If you're from Springfield or Kansas City or St. Louis or a bigger city, tell us which high school you went to. That's always kind of a fun connector there. Tell us who your favorite visual artist is, if you have one. A lot of people don't have them until after this class, which is totally fine. It's okay. And it's okay if your favorite visual artist is a comic book artist or a video game artist or something like that. Pop culture stuff is totally fine. So don't limit yourself on how you interpret that. And then your favorite band or musician. That's a way that a lot of people are able to connect with each other. So share that. Don't say you like every kind of music. If you say you like all music or every kind of music, or you don't have a favorite kind of music, I will make something up and pick something for you, because that's silly. You have to have a preference somewhere there. This is worth points, so you need to do this. There aren't any wrong answers. You just have to do it, and then you have to comment, make a connection on someone else's. And I want you to do this by Friday, okay? You can also share a picture of yourself or your pet or your favorite artwork if you want. You don't have to do that part, but you can. I'll go ahead and tell you about myself here so that you can see my face talking about it. My name's Megan. You can call me Megan, as I already said. I use she, her pronouns. I studied art history, fine arts, and English as an undergraduate, where I got my Bachelor of Arts degree. I then studied studio art and theory for my first graduate degree, which is a Master of Arts in Studio Art and Theory. I then went and got a second graduate degree, a terminal degree, which is a Master's of Fine Arts. And my Master's of Fine Arts is in painting. And for that, I was in California, in San Francisco, at California College of the Arts. I am originally from Springfield. I have tons of favorite visual artists. My kind of go-to answer for that is Helen Frankenthaler, who I have an image of below, but I like lots of different kinds of artists. I listen to all kinds of different music. Recently, I've been listening to Fiona Apple's Fetch the Bolt Cutters quite a bit, but I like a variety of music. I am teaching this class. Oh, I ask you all why you're in this class. That's another thing I ask. So for a lot of you, it's your humanities credit, and it's fine to say that. That's not going to hurt my feelings or anything. But why specifically maybe are you in this class instead of, say, taking theater or music or something? I teach this class because art history is one of my specialties. It's what one of my 3 degrees is in. And I have been teaching art history for several years now here and when I was in California. At OTC, I also teach Art History 1, I teach Art and Experience, I teach Drawing 1 and Drawing 2, and Foundations of Design. I also teach at Missouri State University, and I sometimes also teach at Drury University. So I teach at kind of all the places in town. Art history is my favorite subject to teach, even though my terminal degree is in painting. I love painting, but I really like teaching art history. I think it's really fun and exciting to introduce people to the world of art. So I'm excited to teach this class. I really like teaching this class. Oh, I got my photos to post, so that's an old thing saying that I didn't get my photos to post. They're here. So here's Helen Frankenthaler. She's my favorite painter, and she's sitting on and surrounded by some of her paints. She's an abstract expressionist, so she is someone that we will look at when we talk about modernism. My other photos didn't post, so the other one was a photo of my cats. I have 3 cats who occasionally might pop up in the videos. They are Mimosa, who we call Mimsy, Uma, and Mr. Mustachios. Okay, so that's the introduction. So you'll post there, and then the second part is you'll find someone you have something in common with and post a response to their post. Okay, so then if we hop back over to home, we will be back on our modules page. And the other thing, so this is just a more detailed kind of description about me if you want more of my bio. It's right there. Looking at art is going to be your first assignment other than the intro that I want you to do is to watch this video. And this video just kind of walks us through how we look at art, okay? So I want you to watch that by this Friday, and you just have to watch it and absorb it. And I'll probably put up a discussion page for us to do some reflections on that. Okay, so the rest of the class, other than our introduction section, the modules are broken up by movement. The movements correlate pretty directly to time periods. So the first one is a big one. We're going to look at all of the Renaissance and the Baroque period. So this is a lot of information. So in these bigger chunks of time, I break them down a little bit. So in each one, you're going to click on each subsection in the module, and you'll find some general notes about what you're going to hear about. You'll find a timeline that just has a breakdown of kind of basic things that happen. Sometimes there's extra reading and sometimes there isn't. And then there's always a lecture. And I have a link to it on Loom. I recommend you click the link to the lecture on YouTube. And the reason for that is because YouTube formats their videos so they have HD and standard definition. So if your internet connection is having problems, it's hard to watch things in HD, but the standard definition will play. So I recommend that you click on the YouTube links. If you click on this and go to YouTube, I have it pulled up in a different browser, you will see I have a whole channel. There's like 60 or 70 lectures on here, but I organize them in such a way that if you're on my channel, you can go to a playlist. So Drawing 1 and 2, 2D Design, Fibers, Art Appreciation. So if you go down here to Art History 2, you can subscribe to just that playlist or just click on it, and all of your lectures for this class will be on that playlist on YouTube. So you can get to them through Canvas where they're individually linked in each module. But you can also see the whole playlist there. Okay, so let's go over that really quickly, just one more time, just in case we have a couple people who haven't done Canvas. So you're on the home page, which is the modules page. Each module has all these subsections, and every one of these that you click on is going to have that same kind of thing. You'll have some text, you'll have sometimes some extra reading, sometimes not, and then you'll have your lecture on YouTube, and sometimes it's also linked on Loom. Loom is only HD, so I recommend that you use the YouTube one. So that's the setup. So in every module, all of these subsections have something like that. And then at the bottom of each module, you have a quiz. All of the quizzes are worth 10 points. The thing that's fair game for the quiz is anything from any of the lectures in that section. So that's why I suggest you take notes, because if you take notes, you're more likely to remember things. So you have that quiz to go over. The other part, and each module has one of those, the other thing that you have in each module is a graded discussion. And for the graded discussions, I give you pretty specific instructions on each of these. I'm going to actually read through this, which I don't normally just read to you, but I want to emphasize how these work because they're a huge part of your grade. Okay? So your assignments, and for every discussion you have an original post that you write, and then you have 2 replies, okay? And I have due dates for both of them, and this is graded and is a big part of your grade, so you need to make sure you do these. So your assignments, original post due by February 19th at midnight, and 2 replies by February 21st are listed below. Please attach an image of your assigned subject. The image embedding tool sometimes doesn't work. It seems to be working okay, but you should be able to use it. You can also copy the image and then paste it into the dialog box. And you can also just attach it as a JPEG or PDF. Then after you've attached your image to your original post, you're going to tell us about the artist who created it. So we want to know about the artist. We want to know about the work itself. We want to know where it was created. We want to know why it was created. We want to know what it's made out of. We want to know when it was created. And we want to know why you think this piece is significant. Why am I having you look at this piece of art? Okay? And so for the why, that's always the trickiest part of this. The why is like the context of the time. What's going on in the history, in the society at this time that makes you, that inspired the work or made the work necessary? Okay? For this assignment, you must make your original post teaching us about your assigned topic, and you need to make 2 additional reply posts on original posts by your peers, okay? To receive all of the potential points, your replies must be substantive. What does substantive mean? I mean, you can't just say, good point, or I like that, or rad as hell, my dude, because that doesn't do anything for us. That doesn't help us with the conversation. That doesn't help us understand what's going on. So you need to say, you can say things like that. You can say you like something or you think something's cool, but then you must expand and explain your response or ask follow-up questions. So you want to be engaging with the material and with your peers, okay? So 1 original post, 2 replies minimum. You can reply more than that. If you get into a discussion, that's great. And then some tips about what you write. So the artists who created the artworks and buildings you've been assigned are very famous. I'm not picking any obscure people at all semester. These are all people in which there's lots of information available. So please tell us a little bit about your artist before talking about the specific work. So where's your artist from? Did they grow up in a very wealthy household, in a poor household? Were they able to go to school? Were they an apprentice to some other kind of artist? Do they have a background in architecture and engineering? So that makes their paintings of architectural things look more realistic. Things like that, just background information about your artist. If your image is one of a general category of images, this is particularly relevant when we're in the Renaissance and the Baroque. So like an Annunciation scene, an Assumption scene, make sure to explain what that means. And that's generally going to be in the title. So if you don't know a word, like if you've never heard the word Annunciation and that's the title of your painting, look it up, okay? You need to explain those kind of things to us, right? Just assume that no one knows anything about your artist or their work before you make your post. If the title of your assigned piece is in another language, please translate it for us. Google will help you do this. You can put it in and Google will tell you what it is in English. If your image is of a particular figure, mythological or a saint or a historical figure, whatever, write a little bit about who they were and why they were important enough to make a painting of. Okay, so maybe they were the patron of the church or palace where the image is located. They're the person who paid for it. Maybe they did some heroic act in a war or something. But tell us who the person is, if there's a particular figure. Or if it's a god or goddess from mythology, tell us who it is. It's Aphrodite, the goddess of love, whatever. Especially in Renaissance and Baroque painting and sometimes sculpture, which are the periods covered in this assignment, there's a ton of symbolism. Look up what things mean. You'd be surprised how much you can find just in a basic Google search. If your image is of a saint, look up their attributes and see if those attributes are included in the image. For example, Saint Stephen, always going to be full of arrows. Okay? That's one example. All the saints have different attributes, but look up your saint's attributes and see if that's embedded in the image, if you have an image of a saint that you're looking at. Is there a dog? That means marital happiness. I know, I hate it too, but it's the intent behind the work. Is there one candle lit in a lighting fixture? That could be the Holy Spirit being represented. What color are the figures wearing? All of the colors mean things. Unidentified woman wearing blue? She's probably the Virgin Mary. Is she wearing red? She's probably Mary Magdalene. Et cetera, et cetera. So there's all kinds of symbolism in these paintings and in sculptures as well. So look all that up to figure out what it is you're looking at and why the artist depicted things that way. So you will not be lacking for things to write about. The point is, things that seem decorative or benign are probably there for a reason. They almost always are, especially in these early Renaissance and Baroque paintings. So the way you can look this up is just say, Google it, deer in Renaissance painting, meaning, and you'll be able to find this kind of information. If your image is from a series of frescoes in a chapel, you can write about these frescoes as a whole, as well as the specific image. Where was it created, by whom, who commissioned it, etc. If your image is made using an unusual technique, or it's made out of an interesting material, you can write about that. I mean, I want you to tell me what the things are made of. That's called the medium. I want you to tell me the medium anyway, but if it's made out of something kind of weird, tell us about it. Lastly, what do you personally think about it? Not what does Wikipedia think about it, not what does the internet think about it. What do you think about the work? When you look at it, what does it make you think of? Do you think it's successful? Why or why not? Do you wish I'd given you a different image? Why? Does it make you uncomfortable? Why? Do you love it? Would you hang it in your living room? What about it is it that you love? Again, the point is I don't want to read something like, there wasn't much information, because that's not true. So there's lots of information about all of your assigned pieces. Okay. Some of you have very, very famous works of art, which you might initially think, oh, jackpot, I got the Mona Lisa. In some ways, that's harder. In some ways, it makes it harder because you have so much more information that you have to sift through and digest before you can present your own take. Okay, so I just have your names listed, and then I have the work that I want you to teach us about and post about listed next to you. I made this list last week. If more people have joined the class, I will look tomorrow and check it out and see if there's any extra people. So if your name isn't on here, email me, let me know. But as of Friday, I had all of you because I checked it again on Friday. Okay, so that's discussion post. You'll have one of those for every module, and you'll have a quiz for every module. Okay, and the quiz and the discussion post are both over this whole unit, not just all the little individual things. So anything in here is fair game for the quiz. The works I assign you in the discussion are not ones I cover in my lecture. Okay, so you need to listen to the lectures and take notes because that is where the information for the quiz is. You need to post in the discussion because you're graded for it, and other people need to post on your posts. Okay? So we have Renaissance and Baroque, then we have Rococo and Neoclassicism, then we have Romanticism, Realism, and Photography, Impressionism, Post-Impressionism, and Symbolism. Modernism is huge. It's the biggest one, so there's a lot in modernism. And then contemporary is the only one that I don't have the lectures posted for yet. The reason for that is because I copied over my lectures and stuff from the last time I taught this course, which was in the summer, and there wasn't enough time to get contemporary fitted in there. So I need to go in and place all the lectures and stuff for that. But we've got a ways before we get there. So I'll have it all done before you get to it. Yeah, so that's how everything is organized. Whenever you have something that's coming up to be due, it pops up over here. So it tells you when something is due, okay? And I'll go through and put dates on all of these just so that you have a date in mind that you're supposed to be watching the lecture and reading the information by. In terms of due dates, I'm pretty loosey-goosey usually. On discussion posts, you kind of have to be on time with those because you have to make posts responding to other people. So you have to be on time or really close to on time for those because you're working with other people. On your quizzes, those are open all semester. If you are having a bad week, we're all in a crazy pandemic, everything's stressful, you missed your quiz that week, that's okay. Do it later. That's fine. Okay? So I try to be really understanding. If something's going on and you're unable to get your discussion posts for the week done, email me and tell me what's going on. I will work with you. I don't want this to be super stressful for anybody. So just let me know if something's going on. Okay? So that's pretty much it. And then you have your final exam at the end of the semester, and it is comprehensive. So there are things on the exam from the entire semester. I do give you a review for the final exam, so you'll have a review sheet to check on. I think that is about it. I'm excited to meet you all online in this class. As I said, it's my favorite class to teach. I love teaching art history too. So I hope it will be your favorite class as well. Nice to meet you all, and I look forward to the semester. Thanks.